More or less ready. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. We might be a few seconds early, but you guys are like so quiet today.
They're all worn out.
Anyway, welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces. This beautiful Sunday morning. I'm Sarah Benson. This is my husband, Doug, and we're going to start us off with a couple of songs. And I invite you to stand if you'd like. If not, that's fine. Yeah. It's good to sing together.
Well, I thought that was a magnificent song, and so true for all of you beautiful people out there. Good morning. My name is Tina Bailey. I'm one of the practitioners here, And I want to welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces. Our vision is a world of being in partnership for the good of all. Welcome to anyone who's here for the first time. Please help yourself to a packet of information that's on the table in the back of the sanctuary. And there's a gift certificate in there for the bookstore. So we hope you'll pick one up. And we also hope you'll fill out the form that's in there and let us add you to our mailing list, because you know what? We used to call this the Church of What's Happening Now. So you want to be on the mailing list. Trust me. And welcome to those who are watching online. First off, this is very exciting and important. Thank you to all who worked at the treasure sale yesterday. Will you please stand?
Come on, you two.
Yay! Woo-hoo. You guys don't even look that tired. When I came by Thursday and looked around in here, I thought, oh my goodness. But early in our training as practitioners, an important concept that we took to heart was that spirit loves a vacuum. So anytime there's a treasure sale, yard sale, or a place where you can release some of your items and make room for other stuff. I'm trying to just release and not fill the vacuum. And here we go. If we had a drum roll, we would do that. The proceeds from the treasure sale was $3,547.71. Yay! Oh, is there, we're going to have another one?
No, the items in the auction still haven't been paid for or picked up.
Oh, okay.
Still to come.
All right. So I encourage you, next time we have this in the fall, you bring a lot of stuff and you volunteer. Okay, this is important. Some of you may not have read the newsletter, but we're moving the annual meeting to the end of May, Sunday, May 26th. It's your time to come and be brought up to date about the affairs of the center. And if you're a member, you can vote. And we're extending it partly because we want to allow more time for you guys to decide to sign up to run for the board. So think about that. It's a wonderful way to serve this community. We have Spiritual Circle on Mondays at 11. You can Zoom in and discuss articles from the Science of Mind magazine. It's a great discussion forum, and it's a fun way to get to know each other. I've heard good things about it. A weekend with Yolanda Martinez has been postponed until June 29th and 30th, and we'll still show the Ed Breeding documentary about her Friday evening, May 3rd. Hopefully we'll get more people signed up for the June drum making workshop. Please register by May 15th. She did this quite a lot years ago, and it was very popular. People just loved her drum making classes. Reverend Bonnie Allen Rice's memorial service, Celebration of Life, will be May 11th. That's a Saturday at 3 p.m. here at the center, and it will be via Zoom as well. Thank you for those who agreed to check our food bin weekly and take any food items collected to El Caldito. We have a team of 3 right now. And I forgot to do this. If you have a number of working pins around your house, and how many pins do we really need to have at our house, I tell you. We would appreciate if you bring them in here because we can put them to use. So, it's on me to remember. Book Buddies is starting 4 pivots April 23rd, and there's info here in the social hall out there. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the practitioner for today, Doug Bailey.
See, and that's the reason why I'm such a lucky guy. She's put up with me for 40 years. Do you believe that? Well, good morning to everyone. What a glorious morning this has been. Somewhere or other, I have oh, here it is. We believe in the power of prayer, which we call spiritual mind treatment. Affirmative prayer. In front of you, in those little slots, are prayer request opportunities. If there is something that you would like to get rid of or release for a period of time, we have a wonderful group that meets every Tuesday, including the practitioners out of this magnificent center and out of the other four spiritual mind centers within the community. And we do a wonderful job of working with you on whatever it is that is working at you or you're wishing to get to release. And but we can't work on it without you filling out those little cute, and you can put them in the tray in the back, and we will pick them up and integrate them into our Tuesday program. That said, there are practitioners around that have these schools. What do you call these things? Scrolls. Yeah, that's what they're called. And we'll be available following the service for anybody that has something that they would like to deal with following the service. And that said, if there is, this is a wonderful opportunity for us to do a little bit of silence. It's been a long time since I've done this. And you guys are very, very patient. It is time for silence. Science. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what this is all about. And away you go.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Doug. Okay. Come to me, you who are weary, join with me, for my heart is gentle, my yoke is easy, my message is light, and you will find rest for your soul. You will find rest for your soul. Come to me, you who are weary, join with me, for my heart is gentle, my yoke is easy, my message is light, and you will find rest for your soul. You will find rest for your soul. Come to me, you who are weary, join with me, for my heart is gentle, my yoke is easy, my message is light, and you will find rest for your soul. You will find rest for your soul.
So let us in this moment of peace recognize that magnificent energy, that divine power, that wonderful, wonderful, wonderful expression of the divine that is always present, expressing through each person here. Let us be reminded that in each moment we truly are conduits through which the divine expresses. Powerful, powerful, powerful presences of the divine, capable of doing magnificent work within our community, within this group. Let's give thanks for the opportunity we have in each moment to truly make a difference. Let's give thanks for Reverend Bonnie and the magnificent work she does around here, with the music of this center, the practitioners, and the wonderful classwork that goes on, and the truly wonderful opportunity that each person in this center has to truly make a difference within our community. For all of this, I truly give thanks. And so it is. My reading this morning is out of Living the Divine, or the Science of Mind, and it's obviously out of Ernest Holmes. The law that is within you is both universal and individual, since your mind is in some parts is the mind of God. There is a place within where we are universal and where we use the universal power. That power is law. This law, which is the center of your being, your own being, you no doubt have used largely in an unconscious way. You have used it in ignorance of its true nature. Consequently, the good, the very good which you so greatly desire, but which you have been afraid you would not gain, has been kept away from you, and you have deemed its presence in your experience. To affirm the presence of this good is to use the law within you for the creation of the good within for which you affirm. One of the most fascinating things which you will ever learn is that this law, which exists at the center of your being, is creative. You use the same creativity, the creativeness which brought the planets into being, which the same creativeness which produces everything that is. The law of your life is a law of freedom, but you have used it as a law of bondage. You must now use it as the law of freedom. All individual minds, yours included, are different activities of the infinite mind. This mind of God is the law of your life. When you speak, it speaks within you. Thus, your thoughts become the law of your life, because the law of the one mind always resides at the center of your being. To think is to create. You have always been thinking and creating. Now you wish to create good instead of evil, abundance rather than limitation, and you have the possibility within you, for the law within you is set in motion by the mind within you. The mind within you is God, making complete authority over the law, but you must reverse your use of this law. You must accept your freedom, announce your liberty, and proclaim your divine birthright. And so it is.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Thank you.
This song is called Spirit of Mine. It's by Denise Rossier.
You are the light of creation. Time is unbound in your hand. You set my life into motion. You see me where I stand. Spirit of my breath, spirit of my prayers, spirit of everything, everywhere. In my life be magnified, spirit of mine, spirit of mine. Your love is far beyond measure, lifting me higher each day. Darkness is part of your journey. Still you are my light and my way. Spirit of my breath, spirit of my prayers, spirit of everything, everywhere. In my life be magnified, spirit of mine, spirit of mine, spirit of mine, spirit of my breath, spirit of my prayers, spirit of everything, everywhere. In my life be magnified, spirit of my breath, spirit of my prayers, spirit of everything, everywhere. In my life be magnified, spirit of mine, spirit of mine, spirit of mine, spirit of mine.
Thank you. That was beautiful. And I saw who snuck in. Welcome home, Nancy. We're so happy to have you. I had to call her out. She's been gone for 6 months, I think. Yeah, welcome home. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Bonnie, the community spiritual leader here at the center. My pronouns are she and her. And I am just so grateful. I have to add in my gratitude for all those who helped with the treasure sale. I really thought we wouldn't see any of them today, and I am quite impressed with how many showed up and are still standing. So thank you. And some of the ones that aren't here that have helped a lot, we just are so grateful to all of you for all that work. Well, as some of you already know, our class has been reading The Mystic Heart. And this week, well, actually for last week, one of the things that I read in there got me to thinking a lot, and we had quite a discussion around it in our class. I told them they were going to have to hear about it today as well. So in the 7th chapter in here, it's called Out in the World, the Spirituality of Action. And he starts off a section that's called Examples of Simplicity in this way. Simplicity or poverty, the term more commonly employed in the Roman Catholic tradition, is an attribute of spirituality that has been present as long as people have walked the inner path. mystics naturally gravitate to simplicity of life, which then is incarnated in their actions by a lifestyle that sets aside wealth and power. And I had a response to that, and so did several of the people in the class. So we had a discussion, and my question that came to mind is, does simplicity and poverty have to go together? No, yay. Do we have to set aside wealth in order to be spiritual beings? No. Can we have wealth and still live simply? Yes, good. Is wealth always bad? I got the sense that they were making that contrary to the mystic or spiritual life. No. All right, everybody's right there with me. So one of the more profound things that I had a practitioner say to me many years ago in one of the classes when I started out was, if you want to serve the poor, don't become one of them. And so I realized as I was reading this book that we have two different, maybe many more than two, different worldviews around what service means and what being a spiritual entity means. And so I thought about our last yard sale, not the one yesterday, but the one prior. We got a thank you card from someone in the community who comes to our yard sales. We've actually started a mailing list for people who want to know when the next yard sale is. And she said she was so grateful that we kept our prices at a point where she could get a lot of the things she really needed at a reasonable price, because some of the thrift stores now, their prices have gone up quite a bit. And so I realized that in what we're doing when we have our yard sale, yes, our goal is we're bringing money into the center to help support the workings of the center, but we're also providing, as Tina said, all of you a way of releasing and being in the flow in that way. And we're providing a service to the community who gets to find the things that they need at a much lower price than if they went into the stores. So I was thinking it's a win-win-win all the way around because when we support the center in that way, we're supporting this space that provides recovery programs, singing out, it has the rehearsals here, we have the classes that Tina was mentioning, we have all the different ways that we support people on their spiritual path. This place is hop-in every day of the week. We support Unity, who shares the building with us, and they provide part of that as well. That's a give and take in that situation. So I started thinking about, what does it mean to have spirituality in action? What does it mean to take our spirituality out into the world? And we talk about, you've heard many times from up here, treat and move your feet. Do a spiritual mind treatment, and then we get called into action. We move our feet. We help to bring about what it is we want to see expressed in the world. Now, last week, Lisa Giuliano was speaking to us, and she shared how when she first discovered this teaching, since she was such a doer, her tendency was to move those feet, she was do, and her spiritual path is teaching her how to rest into her spirituality, how to just allow Spirit to move through her and guide her actions instead of just feeling like she had to be out there doing all the time. So that also got me thinking about, how do we know when to move into action and when to sit back and just allow Spirit? I think Spirit moves either way, but how do we know where that balance is? And so I thought about what compels us to action. Is it your faith? Do you feel a deep call to action? You feel that tug that says, go, do this now. Or is it out of fear? Because I was told when I was growing up, if you want something done right, do it yourself. So I was moving out of a space of fear that things wouldn't get done right if I didn't do them. Oh, that was a lot of work. And one of the lessons that I've learned in my years here has been how to let go and I tell myself many times, if it's meant to get done, it will get done. It doesn't have to be you. Now, I had intended to work Friday and Saturday with the yard sale, and then my grandkids changed the date they were coming down. So I had Friday with my grandkids, and I reminded myself that we have an amazing team. The yard sale would get ready. I didn't have to be here. That's hard. That's hard for me. Now, I love working it, so I was happy to be here yesterday. And at the same time, that's part of the lesson. When do we let go? When do we trust that things will get done, and when do we feel that compulsion to work and to move forward and to move our feet? And is it coming out of a sense of faith and joy and excitement in what we're doing, or is it out of fear of things like it won't get done, or if I don't do it, people aren't going to like me, or am I resenting doing it? So I think there's a lot that goes on when we think about allowing ourselves to put spirit into action, taking spirit out into the world. Now, I mentioned the last time I spoke that this teaching doesn't outline for you, you need to do this and this and this, or you shouldn't do this and this and this. We leave a lot of that up to you to go within and listen to Spirit. How is Spirit guiding you in your life? What is Spirit calling you to do? As we've been saying of late, what is yours to do? What is mine to do? I loved how Lisa told us last week that when she started here, she wasn't a big yard sale person and she hadn't really helped out with them. And the last one, she felt this pull. I need to go help. And when she did, she met some amazing people that were also contributing to the yard sale, and they started their own group that meets and supports each other spiritually. So I thought that was a beautiful story about listening to where Spirit wanted to have service through you and what came from that for her and for these women that have been working together and running these sales for us and doing a lot of the pricing and the sorting prior to the sale happening. So that reminded me, we were talking about the gentle giant, how to bring that presence forward. We are a place where that giant presence shows up and moves us gently into action when we listen to what is that action that needs to take place. So one of the things I've tried to do over the years that I think I'm starting to get better and better at is to ask myself, what's the motivation behind the action? What is my motivation? Because I think the same action can be done with different motivation behind it, and depending on that motivation, it might have different results, even though the action is the same thing. In the Christian scriptures, in Matthew 6:3, Jesus is credited with saying, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. And he used that example when he was talking about giving. So if you're giving with your right hand, don't let the left hand know what you're doing, came from a sense of when you give from the joy of giving. Giving because you're wanting to give, because giving is the right thing to do, not so the left hand goes, whoo, good job, for the accolades. So you think about what's the motivation in giving? What's the motivation, whether it's our time, talent, or treasure? Are we motivated from the joy of it? From the call, that tug that we feel in our deep in our soul, in our heart? Are we motivated from that space, from our faith, or from fear, or from a concern of maybe not being liked, or because we want a lot of recognition for what it is we're doing? What is the motivation behind that very same activity or action? So part of the musings of this week for me, as I was thinking about spirit in action and what does that look like, it was enhanced by this idea that Earth Day is tomorrow. This is Earth Day weekend. And Earth Day is April 22nd. And I was like, well, why are we having it on a Monday this year? Because I remember it being on the weekend a couple years ago. And so I thought, well, it must be because it's a specific day, April 22nd. And sure enough, I decided to look it up. Some of you are nodding your heads, so you might already know this, but I didn't. I'm like, where did this come from? And just like when we talked about African American History Month and then Women's History Month, we said, well, every day should be focused on all of this. Well, every day should be Earth Day, right? We live here every day. So, but then April 22nd is set aside. So where did that come from? In 1970, the first Earth Day was celebrated on April 22nd, when it was estimated 20 million people nationwide attended the inaugural events at tens of thousands of sites, including elementary and secondary schools, universities, and community sites across the United States. Does anyone remember that? Yeah, okay. Senator Gaylord Nelson promoted Earth Day, calling on students to fight for environmental causes and oppose environmental degradation with the same energy that they displayed in opposing the Vietnam War. By the 20th anniversary of this first event, more than 200 million people in 141 countries had participated in Earth Day celebrations, and the celebrations just continue to grow. So I thought that was pretty exciting. And again, I thought about what it is that caused spirit to move into action. One person had a vision, shared that vision, and see how it grew, and brought about more awareness and consciousness of how it is that we're treating our earth. So tomorrow is that day that's been set aside. And once again, I realized that our worldview can impact what happens and what activities we feel, what actions we're called to do in regard to this planet Earth. So picture this, treat the earth well. It was not given to you by your parents, it was loaned to you by your children. We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. That's a Native American proverb. That's a different way of thinking about it. So what happens when you hear that, when you think about borrowing the earth from your children as opposed to passing it down to them? Does that shift in your mind a little bit what kinds of behaviors we might do in regard to the earth? It did for me. I thought, well, that's a different way of looking at it. I'm borrowing something. How do I treat things that I borrow that I'm going to be giving back at some day? So I thought about that, and then I thought about the different ways we think of the earth. Some of the teachings have been we have dominion over the earth. Others are we are stewards of the earth. How do those two worldviews shift in behaviors that come from having those worldviews? How do we treat the earth if we feel like we have dominion over it? How do we treat the earth if we're stewards of it? Is that a little different? This is taken from the archives. It's written from Ernest Holmes. It doesn't cite a place, so I don't know where they got it exactly, but it was in the archives of the Science of Mind. Out there in that vast reaches of outer space, and here in the equally vast reaches of inner space, everything is in order. Our task is to begin to understand that the universal mind is resident everywhere, and also of necessity within us. Our prayer is that the truth be made known, that it cannot fail to be revealed. So Holmes' teaching throughout all of the different books that we've read of his teaching and those that got to hear him had to do with God moving through us, spirit being in all things. And I think for many of us, our early teachings, if we didn't come through religious science or another New Thought teaching, was that spirit was out here, and we are here as humans, and we are on earth, and earth got lumped in with the humans as separate from spirit, or heaven, which was somewhere else. And so we had our spiritual life on Sunday and maybe in a morning practice, but then the rest of the days of the week and the rest of the day was part of our humanness, which got equated with not being so good all the time, which included then the earth didn't get seen as something positive either, because it's part of the human experience. So when we shift that worldview to God showing up in and through all things, God expressing as us, God expressing as all the things on this earth, how does that shift our relationship with all these things and with the earth? Does it change our thinking about the earth? God in and through, so does that change our actions and our relationship to the earth? Can we care about the earth? Can we care about the environment and still be spiritual? And still have that be part of our spirituality? All right, where's all the nodding? Yeah. Okay. So how does that work then? If those things come together, instead of heaven out here, spirit out here, and earth and humans and all this here, if we're pulling that together as humans, as the earth itself, part of that expression, the planets, all of it, all of the universe, God expressing, how does that look then? What are some of the ways we might express that in our lives? And I'm going to let you answer. What would that look like? How does it show up in your life?
Frame your question differently.
Frame my question differently. Recycling, thank you. Okay, you got, okay. So, yeah, what else? How else do you express spirit and see spirit in all things, even in the earth? That's part of our spirituality. Water conservation, okay. Growing plants.
Cleaning up after yourself out there.
Cleaning up after yourself out in nature, okay. Cleaning up after others. Yeah, good, What else? Caring about the wild creatures. So, as part of conservation, caring about all the other species. Not using poison to get rid of weeds. Okay.
Reducing consumption of resources.
Reducing the consumption of resources. Good. We're not autonomous from the earth. Keeping that in our minds, in our consciousness. Respect for everybody else. Good, y'all are right on it today. I knew you'd be able to help me with this. For me, I love my garden, and being in my garden is like a form of meditation for me. It's a place where I can my mind sort of just focuses there. It's not rattling off with all the other stuff. And I love the beauty of nature. And I know many of you, all of you, we've got a photographer that does beautiful photography for nature right here in our midst. It's just a marvel to me when I see the beauty. For me, it feeds my soul, it feeds my spirit. And I think about God in and through all the plants and animals. I feel like sometimes the plants speak to me. When they want water, I know it. When they need something, I listen and I try and provide what it is they need. So for me, I don't see a separation between spirit and nature itself. And so that's part of what attracted me to this teaching, because it included all of that. It didn't make me superior to all of this beauty and all of this creation. It brought me in as part of it. So in the Science of Mind magazine for this month, and remember we flipped them to get this month, under the giant gentleness, a new thought perspective on climate is in here. Reverend Dr. David Alexander has an article, and I was reading it, and it really spoke to me because I thought about how do we take our teaching and our practice and apply it to this idea of the earth and sort of start to bring those concepts together. I know that we have heard over the years now, at least I have been hearing, all of the things that we're doing wrong on the planet. And we lump it all under global warming, that title. I grew up hearing about it because my father was one of the scientists that was studying it way back when, so before it became a buzzword. And we know who to blame, humans. We've been thinking about who to blame for a long time, but many of us go them, not me. I'm doing the good stuff, but it's them that aren't doing it. So when I read his article, I found it helpful to shift my thinking about how do I bring this teaching into this realm? Because I haven't always done that. It's sort of been, there's the environmental issues over here, and I'm doing my spiritual thing over here. And so he talked about much of what Lisa talked about last week, too, remembering who we are as part of that first step. So I'm going to just read you what he wrote in his article here. In the face of this stark reality, what does our faith tell us about who we are? Are we free and independent beings with unlimited access to creative intelligence that always meets our individual needs, therefore removing our need to consider the consequences suffered by others? He put a little twist on there. Or are we interconnected beings, each a manifestation of the one, and thereby inextricably woven together into a single garment of destiny? Yeah. He says, I believe we are all connected, and that includes the earth and her resources. While the creativity of infinite intelligence has no limit, our finite resources, by definition, have limits. We can use the infinite creativity to maximize renewable, resourceful, and responsible means of meeting our needs, not just as a responsible act, but as one that demonstrates our relationship to all creation. But to shift But the shift required to actualize this balanced and holistic relationship necessitates a mindfulness we have yet to see in humanity on a large scale. Integrated into our spiritual practice must be a presencing of our relationship to the whole that directly impacts our behavior and choices. So there's taking our spirituality and putting it into action. If we are indeed one with all that is, then assessing our carbon footprint on a regular basis can and should be part of our spiritual walk. Mindful connection and thought leads to mindful actions and choices. That's just part of the article. But that got me thinking about how to apply our principles to the idea of the environment, the earth, and Earth Day being tomorrow, and remembering who we are and how we're connected to everyone and everything. And all those things we just talked about, reducing carbon emissions, conserving water, recycling, taking care of things in the little ways that we each can. And what I also liked about this article is he reminded me to focus on what works and not on the problems all the time. We get wrapped up in those, oh, we did this wrong and we're doing this wrong. Shifting, it's that little shift in thinking that we know about, how to focus on what does work, what helps, what can we do. Then we don't get as bogged down. I get just so overwhelmed with, it seems impossible. What can I can't make a difference. If I remember to look at where I can make a difference, see what does work, what is the solution, and remembering too that we teach that every problem has the solution within it. Anything that we experience as a human that we see as a problem, remember that answer to that problem is already there. So that's when we go within and we listen to how is Spirit wanting to move through us to answer this situation. What action are we being called into? The other thing I started thinking about is over the last, 5 to 7 years, it seems like we've been noticing bigger Earth-related responses to the human presence on it. Bigger tornadoes, more fires, bigger storm surges. At least I don't remember seeing this level when I was growing up. And so when a city gets demolished, in whatever way, we pray for the people, we pray for their safety, we pray for rescue, we pray for their new homes, we pray that they can rebuild. And I started thinking, is there something we can do before that starts to happen? Is there a place where we can focus our prayer to offset some of this, to start bringing the consciousness to a different place so we're not just putting the Band-Aid of prayer on all these situations as we see them come up? And so again, I go to Ernest Holmes and what he talks about in the Science of Mind text here. On page, the first one is on 38:1, that we must go the way of the law. Now, Doug read about the law also, so I want to clarify. When Holmes talks about the law, he's talking about spiritual law. He's not talking about you have to stop at the stop sign kind of law, human-created laws. So we're talking about spiritual laws that are much in line with the natural laws. So we talk about the law of gravity. Aerodynamics has laws that they have to follow in order to make an airplane get off the ground. So he's saying we must go the way of the law with a capital L is a fundamental tenet of this science, of religious science, because nature obeys us as we first obey it. And our obedience to it is our acceptance of it. And on page 42, he says, spiritual wisdom says that God manifests through everything and is incarnated in all of us, that all is divinity, and that nature herself is the body of God. The mechanical laws of nature are set and immutable, but the spontaneous recognition of these laws gives us the power to bring them into practical use in everyday life and experience. I think of electricity and lights and the things that we use. The laws of nature help us to do. Like I said, flying before as well. Here we have a dual unity, law and order, spontaneous choice, volition, conscious action, and automatic reaction. The laws of the universe are to be trusted, but we must come to understand them before we can use them. Once understood, any law is available and is impersonally responsive to each and all alike. And I've always said that means it doesn't matter who turns on the light switch, the lights are going to go on. So we all get to use the laws of nature in the same way. So as I thought about that, and I thought about this idea of how do we apply these teachings to what we see in the world today, I think that our prayer needs to start now, that people start to understand nature better, that people start to work with the laws of nature better, so that we have that sustainable lifestyle that doesn't create all of these huge disasters that then we end up praying for people's safety in. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I thought we need to shift our worldview. We have this amazing teaching. How can we bring that to apply to the worldview that's out there? How can we help people see? Let's start praying for a shift in behavior ahead of all of this stuff that's going on in the world, all of what nature's response is to our behavior. So someone said, I don't remember, how did you word it? Can you remind me how you worded what you said?
Reduce the consumption of resources.
So reducing the consumption of resources. I think the challenge for many of us is those resources create comfort a lot of the time. It's so much easier to get in our car than to walk, as Karen does from her house to here. So we think about how can we reassess what's comfortable to us? How can we look at what we find comfortable and maybe just push that a little bit to where we can shift so that we're helping to use those resources in a different way? And how can, it might be comfortable to run that water. I know so many people, I grew up in Southern California, and when I got to the Midwest and they turned the water on and brushed their teeth and the water's going, it was so hard for me because I was raised, you turn that off in between. But it was more comfortable. People were used to doing that, not thinking about, you're running perfectly good water down the sink while you're brushing your teeth. So little things, thinking about what makes me comfortable and is that in alignment with sustainability? And can I shift? We'll get comfortable. We just have to change our habits a little bit. Can we shift where we're comfortable ahead of time to just start working on this issue? And how do we use our resources? Just putting that into our consciousness, especially our Earth's resources. So where are we doing our treatment and prayer work? What are we supporting with our treatment and prayer work? Can we start supporting that shift in consciousness instead of just reacting to what's going on out there? And again, in the Science of Mind text, Ernest Holmes says, nature seems to await our comprehension of her. And since she is governed by immutable laws, the ignorance of which excuses no one from their effects, the bondage of humanity must be a result of our ignorance of the true nature of reality. That's a capital R, reality. The storehouse of nature may be filled with good, but this good is locked to the ignorant. The key to this door is held in the mind of intelligence, working in accordance with universal law. Through experience, we learn what is really good and satisfying, and our capacity to understand the subtle laws of nature grows. We will gradually be set free. As we learn the truth will automatically free us. So I just love Ernest Holmes, as you know. So a lot of good stuff in there to help us think through this and help us to shift in our thinking. So I would invite you now to take a moment to just go within and think about our earth. Think about where you sit on the earth, your home, where you are right now, and if you're traveling, what you've seen of nature in your travels. And just consider your relationship to the earth right now. What does that look like? And has your experience as you travel on this planet been one where you can't wait to get off and get to heaven? Or are you one that thinks about creating heaven right here on earth as you walk on it? And how are those two different mindsets creating different actions or activities? Can you see heaven created right here? And what would that look like? What would it look like to be walking on heaven as earth right now? What would that feel like? What would it sound like? And so as you think about heaven expressed right here on earth, and again, the what we call the Lord's Prayer says, on earth as it is in heaven, what would need to happen to see that realized? And as you're thinking about all the things that they need to do, what could you do to make that start to happen in your reality? Are you feeling called to different actions? And as we think about the spirituality of oneness, which is part of our teaching, what kind of actions does that look like as we walk on this planet and are one with this planet and all that inhabit the earth? So I'm going to give you a minute to just sit with that vision. Just take it within. And I invite you to just carry that thought with you into the rest of your day and your week as you bring your awareness back to this place and what we're doing here today. And so as I continued to read David's article, I was pleasantly surprised to see that the Centers for Spiritual Living, our larger organization, they are starting to look at these same questions and how it is that we as an organization might help with the situation ahead of time and how we might do things differently. And so again, it's a bit of a long, but I want to read to you what the end of his article says. The Centers for Spiritual Living joins the efforts to, and he used the word battle, which I wouldn't use, but anyway, work with climate change, see what happens. The U.S. Climate Action Summit takes place tomorrow through the 28th of 2024. And it is set to be one of the most influential convenings of climate leaders from the business, governmental, and nonprofit sectors, coming together in Washington, D.C. to tackle the roadblocks to effective climate action. The Centers for Spiritual Living developed a strategic alliance partnership with the World System Solutions and the Global Action Coalition. We are participating members of the United Nations' Climate Emergency Response Forum. I didn't know that, so that's why I'm sharing it with you. CERF, which is CERF, the Climate Emergency Response Forum, held its first gathering in 2023, during which CSL was invited to the table as a strategic partner, joining a diverse group of people who employed a whole systems approach to address the meta-crisis threatening our planet. Instead of merely enumerating problems, CERF participants put aside debate and competition, focusing instead on finding the capacities, spiritual, mental, and physical, to generate sustainable solutions. I loved that, putting our teaching to practice. Let's stop arguing over all this and let's figure out what the answers to these problems are, because we know they're there. Among the groups represented were technology, military, AI, artificial intelligence, I've had to learn what that stood for, business, indigenous cultures, spiritual leaders, climate experts, women's empowerment advocates, diplomats, luminaries, artists, and politicians. What a group. This diversity epitomized the forum's commitment to fostering a rich and inclusive dialogue to seek global climate solutions. The news story we must tell says that solutions and the capacity to bring them forward do exist, because the infinite intelligence of the universe facilitates itself in, through, and as you and me. We each play a significant part in a global shift in consciousness, and we re-harmonizing with humanity, with nature, in a way that reveals the beauty and balance of our oneness. He ends this by saying, what part will you play in your community, neighborhood, and places of influence? I was like, whoa. I had no idea that that was part of what our larger movement was doing. And in addition to that, they are doing a prayer-a-thon tomorrow, which if you're interested in joining them online, you can join them through Zoom. It's going to include meditation, inspirational learnings, prayings, music. Let me know, and you give me your email, and I'll forward you the email that has the link to it. You have to register. I think it's just so they can send you the Zoom link. So if you want to be a part of that tomorrow, let me know after the service, and I'll get you the information on that. So apparently a lot of people have come together to create an event where we are putting our prayerful energy toward this idea. So you might want to also read in the Science of Mind magazine, Reverend Christian Sorensen's guide for tomorrow, if you read the daily guides. He says, partly, this is just part of it, the earth truly is our gentle giant, carrying us through space on her back. Realize you are part of Gaia and one of her loving expressions, which I thought was a nice way, but he's got a lot more in that article for tomorrow if you'd like to read that as well. So I think it's important for us, and I'm excited to see that on the large scale, we're starting to contemplate how it is that Spirit moves through us into action as part of this whole planet Earth universe. It's all about us taking our spiritual teaching into action, and so it is. Thank you all. So let's, again, we'll just, practitioners, yes, surround this room with your love and energy. We're so grateful for the service they provide us. And let's just again go into that place within and into prayer. Connecting with the Spirit that is you, as you. And any thoughts or ideas that have surfaced for you at this time, just place them into the divine intelligence, knowing that any answers to questions, any actions that you're seeking to know what to do next, it's all there, all within. And let it surface. We open to the expression of Spirit in and through us, guiding us, moving us through joy, through love, through all of our actions. And so in gratitude, I release our time together this morning, knowing that great things are happening, that we are here to support and be a part of. We are a part of this amazing planet we call home. And we know the answers are surfacing, and that we are saving the preciousness of each animal and plant and being that walks on this planet is a part of it. So I'm grateful for this awareness, this time, and the shifts in my consciousness from thinking about this. And I just know that Spirit is alive in action through each and every one of us as we release and let go and say, and so it is. Thank you.
This song is called A Present Love. It's by Melinda Wood Allen, and it's based on a text from A Course in Miracles, and one of my favorite, actually. It's just one sentence. The holiest of all the places on earth is where an ancient hatred has become a present love. So. The holiest of places are the places where an ancient hatred has become a present love. When I come to your border and you take me in without a question where I've been, then you offer your hand and you bring
A baby cries in a bombed out room, lost her parents much too soon. Then a soldier holds her, says, I'll take you home, keep you safe, make you our own. The holiest of places are the places where an ancient hatred has become a present love. Flowers spring up where the walls have come down, healing a land that was once a battleground. In my darkest hours, I've wept to find fear and judgment in my own mind. Then my heart cries out for sweet release, to find forgiveness and live in peace. The holiest of places are the places where an ancient hatred becomes the holiest of places are the places where an ancient hatred has become a present love, has become a present love, has become a present love.
Thank you. I like the message. Thank you very much. Beautiful. Okay, so now is the time that we get to think about how it is we give back to the center and support the center. Just know that everything we got yesterday, it's part of what supports us. What you give us each Sunday is the other part. One doesn't outweigh the other. They all work together. So I'm very grateful to everything that is given to us, and we give 10% of all that comes through here. That'll include 10% of the yard sale. We tithe out to someplace else in our community to support our community. And this month, we're supporting El Caldito, the soup kitchen, whose mission it is to make sure that everybody gets food. There it is. To nourish the hungry one meal at a time in a safe and sanitary place. And there's more about them on our website. We're already over, and I can smell food cooking. Today is our potluck after the service. I was thinking after a yard sale, I think we need a vacation day. But we're going to just keep right on going. So we've got our potluck today and community time to understand or learn a little bit more about where we're at and preparing for our annual meeting, which is next week. So please stick around. I think I can smell food, so there's something out there for us.
Next month.
Next month. Yes, sorry, not next week. Next month. Thank you. Thank you all. So, huh?
Freak me out.
Yeah, don't freak out. The board's like, no, not next week. We got a month. So let's say our blessing together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, in me. And we'll sing, I Am So Blessed.
I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And we are blessed. What an amazing community. Thank you all again to everyone who helped by giving, supporting, being here, schlepping things around. It was an amazing community effort. Thank you all, and I hope you can enjoy some food together. Remember, the practitioners are here to pray with you after the service if there's anything you'd like support in, any actions that came to mind you'd like to support and give a little prayerful juice to. See them after the service because they love to pray with you. Let's close out by singing
The peace song.
the peace song. Let's stand and close out. Thank you.